If you're a young player watching this, have you ever said to yourself, I wish there was a way to safely strengthen my body because I'm too young to lift weights? Do you want to make stronger throws from your position or hit the ball farther on the field? No matter how young you are, it is very possible to safely strengthen your body to make yourself stronger and more fit, which will lead to farther hits and stronger throws. Today's Bullpen Bulletin is for players, and I'm discussing why building strength is so important, especially at a young age, and my top 2 ways that young players can use to increase their strength. Hey team, Coach Hart here with Building Better Baseball, the best place for baseball education. I want to welcome all new teammates who are watching for the first time. It's great to have you as part of the team. If you're a youth baseball player or a coach and you want to take your game to the next level, don't forget to tune in every single week for the weekly Bullpen Bulletin. It's something that you don't want to miss. Be sure to support the channel and hit that subscribe button. And hit that bell icon too so you don't miss a video to improve your game. If you stick around to the end, I have a couple free guides I'd like to give you that every player and coach must have. But for now, let's dive into the 2 best ways youth players can strengthen their bodies. The first thing we'll discuss today is the importance of building strength. Efforts to make the muscles in our bodies stronger, also called strength training, has been around since the dawn of time. The human body was made to move and improve. That's why we have muscles. We were given a muscular system so we can move, do work, and complete different tasks. If we do a task repeatedly over a long period of time, the muscles we use to complete that task get stronger. And over time, that task becomes easier and requires less effort. Unfortunately, strength isn't here to stay if you don't work at it. Our bodies were made where if you use a muscle over and over, it gets stronger. And if we don't use a muscle, we'll get weaker and the strength that was once there has the power to disappear. It's not like something we learn with our brains, like a language. Once we learn how to speak, it's pretty hard to forget how to speak, even if you don't speak for a while. Muscles are different. The saying, if you don't use it, you lose it, speaks very true to our muscles. That's why when you haven't thrown a baseball for a while in the off season and you go to throw for the first time, you feel like your arm is weak and you can't throw as well as when you ended the previous season. You haven't used those throwing muscles in a while, so you probably have lost some strength. That's why building strength is so important throughout your life. I'm not saying you have to go out and lift heavy weights and try to lift the world with one arm. But using your muscles every day, or at least every other day, will help keep them fresh and ready to perform when you want them to. It's really important to start this habit of doing some sort of training when you're young, because the older you get, the harder it will be to maintain. Young players like you should not be lifting weights. I repeat, you should not be lifting weights. You're too young and the risk of injury is way too high. But in the next 2 points, I'm going to discuss the 2 best ways for you to build strength safely and effectively. The first and absolute best way for you to strengthen your body is to use your body weight. One method of strength training that I think is the absolute best way for all youth players to strengthen their bodies is by using no weight at all. How does that work? By using your body to strengthen your body. Your body itself is a weight that you can use to strengthen your muscles. This method is called doing body weight exercises. Have you ever heard of a push-up? That's a body weight exercise. You just get down on the ground and you start pushing up from the ground using your arms. Have you ever heard of a lunge or a squat? Or what about a plank? All of these exercises are using the weight of your body to strengthen the muscles. This is the absolute best way to strengthen your muscles because it's something that can be used at all ages and in all stages of life. Have you ever seen a baby try to stand for the first time? How do they stand? They have to push up into a squat position and then they have to squat up to stand. They're strengthening their muscles without even knowing it. And once they repeat those movements for a certain amount of time, their muscles are strong enough to stand and then they start trying to walk. And then after they're strong enough to walk, they try to run. Your body is a weight that you will always have available to use to make yourself stronger and more fit. And it's the safest way possible to strengthen at a young age. 2 things people never really think about are tendons and ligaments that go along with your muscles. Tendons and ligaments are like the glue that connect each muscle to another muscle or your muscles to your bones. These don't grow and strengthen as fast as your muscles do. When you use your body weight for training, your muscles, tendons, and ligaments, they will all grow together with each other evenly. One of the many reasons using weights at a young age is so dangerous is because even though the weights will strengthen your muscles, your tendons and ligaments won't grow as fast as your muscles will. Think about using glue to stick a cotton ball to the ceiling. That glue would be able to hold that cotton ball easily. That's like using body weight exercises. Now, turn that cotton ball into a bowling ball. And that's like trying to use weights when your tendons and ligaments aren't ready. Using body weight exercises will help your muscles, tendons, and ligaments all grow together and prepare your body to use weights when you're in high school. The second way you can use to strengthen your muscles is using resistance bands. If you absolutely need some extra resistance in your exercises and the body weight just isn't enough, the second safe way to build strength is using resistance bands. Resistance bands are a great alternative to weights, and I've been using them for years to keep up my strength. Bands are really useful for working the little tiny muscles in the shoulders and arms that other exercises just won't work. Depending on the thickness of the band, you can also use them in a variety of different ways to do all sorts of training. Bands are great because they not only work the muscles, but they also help work on the stability of the joint, which is all your tendons and your ligaments. Your body has different sized muscles, and they're all used for different things. If you wanted to lift a car, you would use the big muscles in your legs, in your chest, and your arms. Even though you would use these big muscles when you throw a baseball, you also use something called your rotator cuff muscles in your shoulder. Your rotator cuff is a grouping of 4 small muscles in your shoulder, and doing push-ups just won't focus on these muscles. In order to have a strong throwing arm, you have to make sure that you strengthen your rotator cuff muscles as well. These small muscles are usually the ones that are injured because players only focus on the big muscles and not really on the small ones. There are 4 band shoulder exercises that I use to warm up before every single time I pitched, and I'll show them to you now. Make sure you pay attention to the form I talk about because you want to make sure that you're using the rotator cuff muscles and not engaging the bigger shoulder muscles. The first exercise is called an internal rotation. Here's an example of the internal rotation. When you set it up, you attach your band to the fence here. Make sure it's all the way extended. You want to have your elbow against your body. Make sure it's against your body and it does not leave, almost like it's glued to your body. You want to have your arm even or parallel with the ground, even like this. You don't want it up here. You don't want it up here. You want it out here like this. And you just rotate forward like this. Rotate, rotate. This works the inside muscles in your shoulder, the little tiny rotator cuff muscles in your shoulder. You rotate, rotate, rotate. Notice how my elbow is not moving. Notice how my arm is not going up or down like this. It's staying even, staying parallel with the ground. And you just rotate like this. Rotate, rotate. That's the internal rotation. The second exercise is called an external rotation. Here's an example of the external rotation. So just like the internal, we want to have our elbow glued to our side, our arm even or parallel with the ground, not up here, not down here. You want to be here, and it's kind of the same thing. We are just externally rotating out like this. Notice how my elbow is not coming away from my body, it's staying stuck. My arm is not moving up or down like this. It's staying parallel with the ground, and I'm rotating like this. Notice how also I'm not moving my shoulders. I'm not moving my shoulders like this. I'm staying straight, and the only thing that's moving is my arm. I'm externally rotating out like this. That is the external rotation. The third exercise is a shoulder rotation forward with your elbow out. Here's an example of the shoulder rotation forward with your elbow out. So for this one, it looks like this. You want to have your elbow out like this, with this part of your arm now parallel with the ground, and this arm stays here like this in a right angle, in a 90-degree angle, just like this. Just like this. You want to be here, and you just press your palm down. Notice how my elbow is not moving down, it's not moving up, it's staying even with the ground. I'm rotating back and pressing down. Rotating back, pressing down. That is it. If you want to hold your elbow like this, you can, to try to keep it steady. Just like this. Going down every single time. That is the shoulder rotation forward with your elbow out. And the fourth exercise is a shoulder rotation backwards with your elbow out. Here's an example of the shoulder rotation backwards with your elbow out. It's the same exact setup. You want to have your elbow out with this part of your arm parallel or even with the ground. You're not going down here, you're not up here like this, it's even. You want to be like this. Now this is locked. This is locked right here, you're not moving. Now you're just going down like this and you're rotating back. Down like this, rotating back. Notice how my elbow and my arm is not moving. The only thing that's moving is my forearm. I am keeping my arm at a right angle, a 90-degree angle the whole entire time for both of these exercises. So right here, back like this, and forward, back and forward, back and forward. That is the shoulder rotation back with your elbow out. And as I said, these are the 4 exercises that I did before I picked up the ball every single time that I threw, and especially every single time that I pitched. So these are 4 great exercises for you to work those rotator cuff muscles, and they will help keep your arms safe and strong throughout every season. There are plenty of ways to use resistance bands. They're a safe alternative to using weights for young players, and they're a great addition to your body weight exercise routine. If you're a player watching this, I'd love to know your thoughts about this video. How do you strengthen your body? What kind of exercises do you do? And if you don't, would you like to start? I'd love to hear from you. Before we go, I'd like to make sure you get your free guide down below that's a must-have for any baseball player or coach. There's a free baseball equipment guide that will help clear up any confusion about what equipment is needed and helps you find your perfect fit for every piece of equipment. I also have a free 2-hour practice plan for coaches who are looking for some guidance on making their practices more efficient. Don't forget to grab your free guide down below. Thanks for spending some time with me today. I hope this video gave you some tips on how to build strength in your body and helped you understand why using body weight exercises and resistance bands are the best ways to build strength as a young player. I'll catch you next week for another edition of the Bullpen Bulletin.